Oh, yeah. Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Came to bring you so that boom to the back breakfast right here, right now, to your front door. You want some more? We right here for sure. Let me introduce you to the crew galore. I just had to rhyme it with a real rhyme and not a metaphor. Let me give it up to my good brethren, Evan. And when the first people ain't responding, we call Renee Johnson.
Oh, man.
Johnson. Oh. What's good?
Oh, man.
We outside. Renee's definitely outside. She stays.
Renee is definitely outside.
I am definitely outside.
Yeah.
Definitely outside.
Evan looks like he been nowhere all weekend.
You right. How's your weekend, Air Doctor? Speaking of weekends.
Oh shit! Here we go.
That's right.
It was good. It wasn't. It was good that I'm still here and breathing. A lot of my gigs got canceled because of this weather, supposedly. But down here in Atlanta, it's no ice storm. It's just cold. So yeah, that's my weekend. How about you, Evan?
We definitely got snow here, and I'm just.
And where is here?
At the DMV area.
Okay.
We got snow for sure.
What part of DMV you at?
I want to know all my information.
I mean, I'm still trying to understand this whole Baltimore, Maryland, DC.
Okay. DC. I'm in DC. I'm from DC, Southeast DC. So that's the triangle. Near suburbs is the DMV, right? And that's pretty much how people localize themselves generally, you know what I'm saying, the DC area. Baltimore is far enough away that it is like different, you know, kind of vibes, different culture. Obviously, we're all
they say YouTube. Y'all don't say YouTube.
We don't say yeah, exactly. We should have a DMV panel to explain all of the intricacies of the Mid-Atlantic region.
So good weekend though?
Good weekend. All right.
What about you, Renee? What it look like up in Jersey, New York area? Snowed in? What else snowed in?
Man, we were buried. We're still buried, to be honest. Like, I'm trying to understand this whole forcing of the school day. First thing when people can't
they
get
going
out
to
of
school?
Garages. Like
What?
I'm just dropped off. Yeah.
I've been down south too long. I forgot.
And we're all off schedule because my car was stuck. I couldn't get my car out. So.
Wait, so he had yesterday. He had Monday off, but not today.
Yeah, he did have Monday off. Yes, but not today.
That's ridiculous.
They sprinkling salt up there. They down here. They sprinkle lemon pepper down on the ground. What they sprinkle? They got the roads getting straight.
Yeah, I mean the main roads are fine, but some of these side roads are definitely questionable. And so, because it was definitely over a foot of snow. So,
how was Saturdays with Renee?
Saturdays with Renee was really good, actually. Shout out to Amber Sherman.
Amber
joined. Yes, Amber.
What?
So we had a good conversation about ICE and what's going on in Memphis and some historical things that I think people don't quite fully understand yet. And but it was good. It was a good conversation. So
she didn't talk about her dating life.
She made a couple of comments, but it wasn't.
That's my Amber right there.
That is Airburb. I mean, I don't, my goal is never to stop people from being who they are. So, but that, it was stuff in passing. Like, we were talking about something, and it was actually relevant to the moment.
What was your greatest what was your greatest takeaway, you think?
That we have to be really cautious about how we focus and center our attentions, because things in Memphis, for example, are not good. And they're trying out some things in Memphis, like, this whole, you have to be 25 feet back whenever there are actions happening. And it's going to start in Memphis, but as things continue in other places, they'll just spread. So, I think we just have to be, like, there's a lot of eyes on Minneapolis right now, and not to say that we shouldn't be paying attention to what's in Minneapolis, but ICE is everywhere. And so I think it would be a good idea for people to really look within their own communities, within their own state, and be very clear about what is happening, because this is what like, all eyes go to one place and they're wilding everywhere, and people don't know because all eyes are in one place.
And they probably using Memphis as a testing ground to try all this different stuff out before they take it
100%. 100%.
Well, I'm glad we got Amber over there to let us know what's going on before they try it out on the world. So other than that, it's been a great week. Started off yesterday. We back on this Monday thing, so I'm doing 4 days. I'm like, God damn.
It is.
I gotta say though, I like the combination of Erica and Jared and you.
Really?
It was I fully enjoyed watching yesterday. It was a great conversation, and you all vibe very well. So I don't know how schedules will allow. I know, like, everybody was closed yesterday, so going on a Monday can happen when everything's closed, but I don't know how it works.
Yeah, and I don't even know who's going to join next Monday, because I know Ball be back in class, or maybe not. Y'all got to come and check it out. But yeah, we got to get that together. How's your Monday looking, Renee?
Listen, you not know.
I ain't mad at you.
No. The Tuesdays happened on accident. I thought I was doing this like a couple of times until it's been months. I'm still here. So yeah.
You can't go anywhere now, Renee. So
yeah.
You trapped now. Now you can't leave.
Yeah. I keep hearing about this. Did y'all talk about Birdsong yesterday? I missed it. Who is Birdsong?
What is that? Birdsong.
So Paul Birdsong is an organizer in Philadelphia, and
the Black Panther guy.
Yes. Although they're no longer the Black Panthers.
Oh, they're the Lions.
Apparently, they've renamed themselves the Black Lions.
That happened fast.
International something. And so I don't know. I don't like it. Listen, I don't live in the area. I don't live in Philadelphia. There have been various conflicting reports about what the group and, whether or not they're actually organizing to do things in the community. Some say yes, some say no. I'm not there. So I'm trying my best to withhold any level of accusation or judgment, simply because I don't know. And there was supposed to be, all these meetings and things that were going to reveal, like, the reality of things. And apparently that all fell apart over the weekend. And so it looks like they've distanced themselves, and,
my thing is, are they doing the work like the Black Panthers did back in the day? Are they doing the programs, feeding the people, teaching the people? Are they doing that? What's the problem, so to speak, that they're not getting the love like Black Panthers or the new Black Panthers?
So, like, it seems to be in debate. Some people said they were running a food program and they were out in the community, and some people said they never saw them anywhere. I don't know what the answer is because I don't live there. You know what I mean? So, but there was a conversation about how there's been a few posts from the Panthers who are the elders that were named as the people who were working with the group. I'm blanking on the name right now, but I just read a whole statement this morning where apparently one of the elders came down and met with the group and felt like they were doing the work and had been willing to advise. And then, this whole social media, and so I just, I don't know. It's for me, a lot of times when I see like these public facing things, I wonder how much of this is really about doing the work and how much of it is about being public facing.
Hey, real quick, Renee, let me see something. Hey, Kim, are you with us? Oh, okay, not. All right, continue. My bad.
That was enough.
She can't see everything, so I typed it and I was like, wait a minute.
You did not. Why you do that?
That's unnecessary.
She usually turns her camera on when she's ready, does she not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes she might want to be like you, Renee. Everybody wants to be like you and not have to put their camera on sometimes. So who knows?
She's gonna turn to you when she gets here. It's gonna be justified too.
Oh man, what is it? What's gonna be justified? God, boy, I can't. I tell you, man, you can't do nothing nowadays. I'm glad I came up in the time and like Kamal K. Franklin.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying, Kamal? When you could say stuff and not have to filter everything you say.
Like, exactly. You could say anything racist, sexist, patriarchal.
Right.
LGBTQ. And nobody could say shit to you.
No.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. There was a.
Now you got to walk on fucking
cotton. You got to care about other people's feelings, concerns, their humanity. It's all crazy now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, Evan, and your generation.
Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. Please like, subscribe, share while we work with our elders, try to bring it along slowly but surely. Y'all see that it's difficult. Y'all see that it's a challenge. Our patience continues.
Wow.
Renee, you were saying something. I'm sorry.
They're not. He's a little too comfortable now, don't you think?
I think so. I think so. I don't think he realized he was touching the buttons over here.
I also think like in a week it's going to be him and his 3 friends, and we're all gone. DJ, all of us. We're all just like, he just will get pushed out.
They're going to ban us for our old school antics. It's all good. How you doing, Kamal? You've been out. How's the community movement building?
Yo, we're doing some really good things. I might have some really good announcements. I won't tip a hand, but I'm excited about some new developments in terms of our reach and our breadth. I'm gonna leave it there. I can't make an official announcement yet, but for me, it's pretty exciting.
Oh.
You know what else is pretty exciting? Oh, too early because her eyes are so.
Hey, yeah, it's nice.
Can
we get a thumbs up back there, Kim, if you're ready? Okay, Kim Brown.
You ain't been outside. What you got all those hats on? You been outside?
She muted.
Kim, you're muted.
You're muted,
and
Kim.
You're muted.
God, she's like he ain't did this in weeks.
I know. She's like a professional, too. I'm always shocked as a professional. Whatever.
Hey, Kim.
It's cold.
Good morning,
Kim. Inside the house?
This is the coldest room in the house.
Ah.
My house is 90 years old. Keep in mind, I don't live in a McMansion like you, Camus Franklin.
A McMansion.
If only. I was promised. That's one of the things. I was promised a McMansion when I moved to Atlanta. I think that was one of the things I was like, I could live in a big house, 3,000 square feet.
Wait a
Never.
minute. Why he flexing on you, Kim, taking his sweater off? Like, oh, it's nice and warm in here. That's so disrespectful. So disrespectful.
Like project heat up in here, B. You know what I'm saying?
Gas
No.
so good and paid. Look at
My
you.
man Dork coming through again, donating for that nice young man who's willing to help elders like us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dork 2099.
I can't believe they're giving money for that.
Hey, I can keep the old antics up. Y'all keep going now.
The bullying.
Yeah. Kim, how you been? Oh, I forgot. We done with you, Camille. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. How's everyone surviving the ice storm?
I went to the beach.
Numerous inferences there. What beach you go to?
We drove to the beach.
What beach?
The thing. Jacksonville.
Oh yes, one of Florida's most glorious beaches. Yes.
Is it or is it not? You making fun?
Very much. Like nobody says, "Ooh, let's all go to Jacksonville and go to the beach."
The beach was white sanded. It had white sand.
I bet because nobody goes there.
Everybody loaded up in the car. It was like, you know what? Because the era we're in is notorious for having the power shut off, even when it's not too cold.
Yeah. So
it's like, you know what? Fuck that. We're about to head out. Okay. We got a tenant down. We left the tenant behind. They ain't say shit. It's like, you're on your own, B. You're on your own. Got the kids up in the car and just tried to outrun the snow.
Good old
but I looked at it. It was like every like 20 miles or 30 miles, the temperature went up 1 degree, and I was like, yes. But so Jacksonville is not a pristine area to travel to?
Let me stop talking. I do not know. But when I hear about people going to Florida beaches,
no one says Jacksonville.
Never in life.
It was a nice beach.
Well, that's great. It's lots of black people. Duval County, right?
That I have no idea. I didn't see a lot of black folks though.
Mm-hmm.
I saw who, but I didn't see the black folks.
It's black folks down there.
Oh, okay.
All right. So everybody had a good weekend, Kim. You know you're a little late. We went through all that. But
nobody have a good weekend. We are dealing with 3 inches of ice outside. What you mean? Everybody
did you shovel snow? Why not you personally? But did you get people to shovel snow?
People are outside with pickaxes. Okay,
damn.
Like it did snow and then it sleeted. I've never seen a weather event like this in my life where it's 14 degrees outside and it's pouring down sleet. It's not snowing, it's sleet. It sounded like people were dropping bags of sand outside the way the sleet was hitting, So I've never experienced anything like that. I said, oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is a bad harbinger of climate change, of all of that. But no, so it's a lot of ice. It's a very thick layer of ice outside. Prince George's County Schools, where I live, has closed schools through Thursday. They said that yesterday. They said
Thursday.
Not in New York, and Renee taking her kid to school.
To school. To school. Just say you ain't want him in the house today, Renee.
Listen.
She dropping him off at an empty school, at an empty building.
They won't realize for like 3 or 4 hours. We'll get so much stuff done.
The janitor there, go learn how to clean.
I promise you, there's nobody that more enjoys a snow day than me. I promise you. So yesterday, on Sunday, I was waiting. The little thing came up on the phone. I was like, yes! And then they had the nerve, the audacity to call yesterday, and I was like, yes! And they were calling to say school is going to open on time. I was like, that's fucked up.
On time, too? That's crazy. That's
on time. Yep.
That's good. That's efficiency. What's wrong with y'all?
You took me back to sitting in front of the TV when I was young, waiting for them to scroll at the bottom.
Waiting for the scroll.
Waiting for your scroll to pop up.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Evan, you know about that?
See, you always do this.
Just saying.
I'm a millennial.
Y'all had hand phones by that time. We had to watch a whole big ass TV.
What's a hand phone?
Right.
It's a hand phone.
See,
I know what a rotary phone is.
I know like an old man expression.
The Facebook.
A hand phone. What are you talking about?
Damn.
Renee, what was the totals? Because I saw Jersey got mollywop and they sent the child to school the next day. Like what?
Yeah, we got walloped. I mean, I think where we are, we probably got 16, 18 inches of snow. It was a lot of damn snow. It was a lot of snow. It was so much snow that my dog was like, what the fuck is going on? Because he couldn't get his belly like off the snow. So like I'm trying to find him a spot to go outside, and he was completely like belly deep into the snow. He was very unhappy.
And you have a big dog. You ain't ain't got no little football dog. You got a beast.
Big. Yeah.
Everybody in Atlanta was just mad that they spent all that money at the grocery store and was no ice storm.
Yeah, isn't that always the case too? It's
always
like, what
the
happened?
fucking case.
I kind of knew it too. I felt that. I felt it in my bones.
And then the conspiracies come out like, yo, they be planning this just so that we can spend all our money at the grocery store. I'm like, come on, son.
Shout out to my people in Louisiana. I saw Louisiana did get molled with ice and they lost power, a lot of folks, but per Cajun people, they was outside cooking. They created a stove and a grill. They said, no, we out here making burgers, we frying fish. I said, okay, amidst all of the snow and ice. I said, you cannot keep Negroes down out here.
Yeah. I love it when people load up on the toilet paper. Like 5 rolls of toilet paper. Like, well, God, how much shit in your family do? The storms.
Yeah, those people are full of shit. But listen, I guess it's time to get to it. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we can get into it. I'm sure there's more ice stuff going on and other stuff going on, and so let's go ahead and get to it right here on no other than the Remix Morning Show.
I see you, Don Cornelius. Hit us with the Soul Train.
But he can't find a button. Look at him. He's struggling.
Oh, man,
he needs a hand phone to help him out.
I know.
That was a good one. I like that guy. All right, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare, donate where, blkliberationmedia.org. You go also, and you can go to our website and cop you some merch over there and get fly. It's cold out there. Go get you a hoodie and stop playing. You know what I'm saying? And that way you can rock and let everybody know what you be watching so they can watch. That's how you share. Sharing is caring, caring is sharing. But anyway, let me share one of our dope shows that comes on Black Liberation Media. And we're talking about root work. That's right. We talk about root work. You know, there's different aspects of looking at the movie Sinners. But my girl Thandi, she said, let me look at it from another perspective, and which is talking about the spiritual part. Let's see what she's talking about.
Wanted to make sure I got all that out the way. So, what is New African Vodun? New African Vodun is a concept that was put forth by this man. His name is Medahochi Kofi Omowale Zanu. Now, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, you've no doubt come across what New Africa or New African is. Links all over the web, Facebook, Instagram, etc., TikTok. You know, New Africa is that name given to 5 states of the Deep South, the Black Belt South, that Black people believe should be as part of a reparations and self-determination demand that should be given to Black people. We should determine our own destiny and have our own nation.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of stuff being talked about on that one. So you need to go check that one out. Root work. Right here on Black Liberation Media. All right, let's get back to it right here with the Remix Morning Show. Yeah. So voodoo.
The perspective, the history, the historical knowledge that she has in those particular areas, man, is fantastic. And she'll just call you anytime.
Email, call you.
Email, text, anytime.
Pick up Thandi.
Some random shit. It's like, what?
Thandi? Yeah, big up. So voodoo. I always learned about voodoo. I first learned about voodoo from Gilligan's Island. When they had the little thing, and they would I'm telling you, the first time I learned about voodoo, and they had the little doll, and they would pick the doll with the needle, and like, yeah.
I think I remember that episode.
Yeah. When did you learn about voodoo? Did you know about it before then?
I don't know. I mean, I think similar ways in which it was just made fun of. It wasn't given any sort of cultural, historical, spiritual overview. Not that I believe in any of that, but still, it wasn't like sort of given the proper context for what it was. So, I'm sorry. I'm trying to sign in, so I'm looking for the sign-in sheet. There we go. Okay. Can I put it on screen yet?
No, I'll sign you in if you don't know how to do it.
Oh, I know how to do it. It's a drop-down menu. Right. I just want people to know that it's like, it's like a regular job. You got to sign into this bitch to get your check or something.
You know it.
I like it.
Oh, you just leave. Okay.
Okay, I'm signed in. I'm ready.
So, Kamal, if you just move right over, you'll see our run sheet.
I got that too. No. I got it.
Talk about the attendance.
Peace. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Remix Morning Show, exclusively here on Black Liberation Media. Today is Tuesday, the 45th of January, at least, even though the calendar says it's the 27th. But, time. Time is an arbitrary construct, especially when the, shit is moving the way it is. But anyway, we are happy to have you all here with us on the Remix Morning Show. Shout out to all our remixers in the chat. I am joined here by my esteemed colleagues. Saturday's with Renee, but it's Tuesdays with Renee today. We got Evan in the joint, and of course, Kamal K. Franklin. Peace to the God, the ear doctor in the cut. My name is Kim. I appreciate y'all being here. Please engage with our stuff. Please listen to our demo. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and support us if you're able to. Patreon.com/Black Liberation Media, or you can head on over to blkliberationmedia.org and get some of that juicy merchandise that we have with your name on it. Yes, indeed. So welcome everybody to the iced out version. Jesus. So many entendres. Multiple entendres, but yeah, the country is iced out and we are under ICE occupation. Lovely.
That was good. I like that. I like that. That was good.
I was just about to say, I feel like we should have like a rotating PSA and Kim should do one.
Yo, Kim.
Now listen, that's called my boy. You know nothing about that.
Black Liberation Media is a community-based entity that is blah, 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 blah. Ear doctor, spit that shit, though. Hold on. Let me not take away from
you. You have an excellent radio voice, Kim. This is a great radio voice, promo voice.
Thank you. I wish I could have excelled. You know what I mean? Because I listen to you guys and I'm like, I don't do that, but I do what I do pretty damn good. But
I know voiceovers, commercials. There's a whole bunch of areas.
But they look you up these days. You understand? Oh. So I'd have to go under like a pseudonym. You know what I'm saying? Like I cannot just be.
That won't burn it down. You have to clean the internet of anything and burn it down.
I know, but I don't want to do that because when the children grow up and look back, they want to know who stood on business. At least, even if I couldn't go out in the streets and stand on business, let me stand behind this mic and stand on business. Mm-hmm. So I just want my record to be clear. I didn't sell out.
Yeah. Oh, well, real quick before we get to news, I don't know if this is the proper crowd for it in terms of people who were big readers, but of his work. But Michael Parente, the famous left scholar, right below Chomsky, passed away yesterday.
Oh, damn.
He was about 95.
God damn. Old. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. So I think there's a lot of folks who are. Wow, that's disrespectful. That might be more disrespectful than my obituary. So there's a lot of folks. Oh, wow, Oprah Winfrey. So there's a lot of folks who. I swear she's Oprah. It's the worst. No. In all seriousness, the seriousness is Michael Parente. Yeah.
Oh, damn. On respectable. Well, not respectable, but
Oh no, 95 is a good amount of time. And they said that he lived the last part of his life more sheltered, not necessarily being a public intellectual as much as he was, Marxist scholar. So Parenti was a real, like he was in all seriousness, a giant to the left intellectual thought, ideas around media and propaganda. So yeah, I think it is a big loss in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Shout out to Parenti, not on anybody's list. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's a success. You know what I mean?
Wow.
How do whites like who are on the left side, how do they get remembered? Like, but for you saying something, I don't know if they would have mentioned it. And in other news, scholar Michael Parenti, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that would have got mainstream media mentioned.
I'm going to check the New York Times later to see if they do his obituary. If they do an obituary for him, that would be, to me, though, that's interesting when sort of the liberal establishment does the obituary of somebody who's obviously left Marxist, and they can't right away sort of clean them up in terms of who they are and what they represent. Sometimes, they're a little, choppy with it or whatever, but I'm curious about that. What is all this Chomsky slander in the chat? Oh my
God. I mean, you could have spared yourself all of it by not bringing it up.
You did it to yourself.
Just, for the record.
No, I love it. It's like people are let me make it the type.
Oh my God.
I mean, unfortunately, Brother Gnome is probably right behind him, right? Like, he's not doing
on the list. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. All right. So, what stories y'all got? I got any stories y'all want to lead off with?
We should start from the top, given everything that's going on, all the ice everywhere.
So, just real quick, is there, because I'm driving and I'm not looking at the list. Is there anything on there about JD Vance and his proclamation that states should behave the way Memphis is behaving?
Oh,
because I think this is so. Because Amber was on Saturday, it's very like fresh in my mind how out of control things are in Memphis, and part of our conversation was really about how the government is getting away with some wild stuff because everyone has pointed their lens towards one place. And so I thought it was interesting when I heard this morning that JD Vance in one of his statements basically said, like, cities should behave the way Memphis is behaving. Look at Memphis. Like, you don't have all these wild things happening because they're working in coordination with ICE. And I was like, that's actually not true. But okay, we can go, like, what's happening right now. But I don't know if it's on the list at all that this conversation happened. Because I just find the U.S. government spokespersons in general to be wildly dishonest. I mean, not that that's different than previous administrations, but it's
It's not on the run sheet, but I do have a story that mentions what his statement was. So I'll bring that up real quick and we can start there. So
well, first he's going to have praise. I'm sorry. Go ahead. They're going to have praise for the governments, for the leaders that are complicit, like Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, like Washington D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. One of them had high praise for Muriel Bowser the other day, and like D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, she just let all shit come in here and let us do whatever. Anyway, what did Vance say?
Oh, well, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the Tennessee governor a Democrat or Republican?
Hell no, he's a big cracker Republican.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually surprised that he went into Tennessee. It seemed like the strategy in our Vance statement has been, for the most part, for them to go into Democrat-controlled states and then cities or whatever. So, but here it says Vance drew comparison between Minneapolis, and other Democratic-led cities where local authorities have chosen to work alongside federal immigration enforcement. He pointed to Memphis and Austin as example of blue cities without the unrest currently gripping Minneapolis, arguing the difference stems from cooperation between local police and ICE. This is his quote, when you look at Memphis, Tennessee, or Austin, Texas, or any other community virtually across the United States of America, you don't see the same level of chaos in Minneapolis. The natural conclusion is that it's not what ICE is doing in Minneapolis, it's what Memphis authorities are doing to prevent ICE from doing their jobs, he said. Vance added that in recent months, ICE had arrested multiple people in Minneapolis with convictions for sexual offenses, but that the lack of local cooperation has forced agents to conduct dangerous street-level operations rather than coordinated arrest.
Street level operations circling elementary schools. These are the street level operations.
They're just doing their jobs, Kim. They're doing their jobs.
And not for nothing, that's a fucking lie. Like, it's just not, like, it's just not true. Like, there are cities like New Jersey. So New Jersey state policy does not allow, well, technically, quote unquote, does not allow local officials to work with ICE agents. They're not allowed to go into schools. They're not like, and not that we go with policy is like policy does shit, because there's definitely there's definitely communication and coordination happening between ICE agents and local law enforcement in the state. That
is that
said,
a statewide policy? Is that
it is
the whole
it's a
state?
It's a statewide policy that they're not supposed to be working with them, and they're trying to currently make it actually stronger. And I don't remember which bill, because there was a bill that went to Governor Murphy before he left office. There were 3 bills that went to Governor Murphy before he left office. All 3 were with regard to immigration policy. He decided to not sign 2, and then he signed the one that confirmed that they're not allowed to go into schools and churches and things like that. But one of the other 2 was to enforce and strengthen the current policy that local law enforcement is not supposed to be working with ICE agencies or federal agencies with regard to their community policing. And so I know for a fact that in multiple places in New Jersey, ICE has rolled up to the entire community being outside blocking them. So this not like this whole like, oh, you know, if you just work with it goes better when you work. It goes better when you don't send 3,000 armed assholes into a city to treat the community members like shit. That's what works better. Period.
And I think, you know, part of this stuff is, I know that there's the so-called policy or laws are in place. You know, the federal government is not doing that. They're making the policy up as they go based on what they want to do. And so I think a lot of these, again, the resistance is in which either folks have to be pushed or made to do it, or they're not going to do it, and it displays who they are. But the real resistance is not necessarily just saying you're not working with them, but are you stopping when you send the police agencies out? What are those local Democratic controlled cities doing with those police? Are they sending them out to surround ICE and to have a confrontation with ICE, or are they sending them out to surround protesters to push protesters back? And all I've seen so far, even the ones who claim to be fighting back against ICE or upset about what's happening, is that they send those police agencies out to push back protesters, to arrest protesters, which definitely gives ICE agents more space to do what they do. And so I know that would be a big lift or difference in terms of what these folks would do, ideologically speaking. But I can imagine some of that's happening at this time if they had the will to do it. And if this was on the opposite foot, and it was some Democrat that was doing something that some Republican found abhorrent, we've already seen instances with it. I think the Texas governor at one point was calling for succession, wanted to take a vote, they like, you know, there were no limits to what they started to think through. I mean, the whole January 6th insurgency was around that kind of thinking. So I wanted to point that out too. Like, a lot of times these folks do this kind of stuff, say what their limits are, but really they are giving you good rhetorical speeches, but in the end, they are following the policy that lets the federal government do what it wants to do anyway, whether Democrat or not. And I think we have a bit on the air since this, but I know everybody, of course, knows about this. There are people who are headed to Minneapolis as we speak, but a second person was murdered by ICE agents in South Minneapolis. Immediately, the federal government called the person a terrorist and tried to lie and said the person had a gun out. And all the videotape that's come out has shown, I think his name is Alex
Preddy.
Freddie. All the videotape has shown that this person was basically shot in the back of the head as he was being held down by several ICE agents. And briefly here, it says this is from a good place to get news that it's not mainstream, is Unicorn Riot. And it says a crowd formed in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, which quickly led to chaos as agents deployed chemical weapons without warning. Streets were barricaded and businesses along the stretch of Nicollet Avenue opened their doors to protesters to take shelter from tear gas. The killing occurred shortly after 9 a.m. on January 24th, a little more than 2 weeks after the ICE agents, Jonathan Warz, shot and killed Renee Nicole Good. It says Prete, a Minneapolis, resident and University of Minnesota alum, was a beloved intensive care nurse with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And so, again, they tried to use the idea that he, in a state where you have open carry, that he had a weapon on him. That weapon was not drawn. It's not illegal to have the weapon. And again, he was being held down by several ICE agents, and he stepped in to stop a woman who was being either tear gas or sprayed as he was filming what the ICE agents were doing. The ICE agents tackled him, threw him down, punched him, held him down, and one took out their gun and shot him in the head several times at close range.
And after Alex Preddy was assassinated, murdered blatantly on the streets, DHS prevented the local police from closing off the crime scene, gathering evidence. They just sprinkled some crack, nothing to see here. I saw Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, get on, his press conference, puff his chest out, talk real big. At the same time, if I understood him correctly, he was calling out the National Guard in an effort to quell protests and,
Exactly.
telling people outside, we don't want to give Trump what he wants. He wants this civil war. We need y'all to go home and be peaceful. How are people supposed to be peaceful when their neighbors are getting shot in the face? By these agents with no names, no accountability. Now, and again, and what the big thing that bothers me, not the big thing, one of many big things that bothers me about this is this contrast is being drawn between ICE and DHS and the local cops, as if the chief of police of Minneapolis Police Department, as if his officers are of some good repute. Okay, we do not forget George Floyd. We do not forget Philando Castile. We do not forget Amir Locke, all of whom were murdered at the hands of Minneapolis police. So these are not the saviors and the saints versus the demons and the devils, as ICE and DHS definitely are. But they're all devils on the same side.
Right. Yeah, no, agreed. And this is part of the confusion that's happening, right? Like to everything that you all have said, right? The issue is that the federal government, through ICE as one of several institutions, is occupying cities, right? And that Democratic and Republican leadership is completely complicit. Whether or not they give like rhetorical cover to it, or whether they only have words right to share after people have been murdered in their city, whether it be the governor or the mayor, right? At the end of the day, to your point, Kim, right? They are trying to create this false dichotomy between pigs, the police, and ICE, right? And there's a comment said to me, you can't spell ICE, you can't spell police without ICE. So we need to understand like these are one in the same body, right? Like when all of this talk about like this language about cooperation, at the end of the day, like when they go on the street, they work in tandem, right? One is clearing the way for the other, right? When ICE are trying to do their quote unquote legal operations, the police are covering them, right? The police and the National Guard are going to intervene when people get out of hand, when people disrupt, right, these quote unquote legal processes, so it is incredibly important. And we have other stories that speak to this, right, in the way in which Democrats, you can tell in how they're formulating their response to all of this, right? Because the issues are what? Training, body cameras, guardrails, right? Procedural guardrails, right? No matter what they do, the call to the people is always, don't escalate, as if the people are the ones escalating, as if the people are the ones who are out here shooting people, right? Alex was a legal gun owner, just like Philando Castile, right? Did not pull out his weapon, right? It was taken from him, and then he was executed, right? And then the state got on television and blatantly lied, said, don't believe your lying eyes. We can see it all in front of you. Right. And what's really important is that we notice is that if this were Democrats, right, they would have the exact same response. It would not be, rhetorically the same, right? But effectively, it would be the same thing. Let's not forget that Kamala Harris was talking about having the most lethal military force, right, in the world, right? Let's not forget that Harris and Biden, right, and Obama also, right, paved the way for this in terms of, ICE. Yeah. So, and we have a bat bulletin. I'll bring that up a little bit later. But I mean, this is just, the way in which I think what's bothering me incredibly is like the way in which Democrats are getting cover. Local police are getting cover. Local police chiefs are getting cover because another arm, right, of that quote unquote law enforcement body is doing a little bit too much on camera, really quickly.
Don't forget that, as Kim mentioned, the cop that killed George Floyd was not arrested until there was a mass protest. It wasn't as if someone immediately saw that videotape and the authorities said, this is a crime. This is horrendous. This is a murder by one of our officers, and we have to do something about it. It was not until mass protest that they decided that they had to do something or would do something. And on that same realm, we've now seen a one-day general strike that was called, and we're talking in bitter cold weather, that had thousands of people out in the street in Minnesota, that kind of shut down parts of Minnesota, if not all of it. And this was coordinated by, again, not always those who are on our side. Some of the bigger unions came out and supported petty bourgeois businesses, local store owners, closed down shop. Masses, thousands and thousands of people were out in the street for a one-day call for a general strike against ICE. And just before commentary or whatever, this Friday, there is another call for a more national or nationwide general strike. Usually it takes a long time to plan these things, but out of the conditions, right, that have taken place, we've seen a shift in which now, because the bigger unions have gotten involved, I'm not saying I know what their politics are, how far they're willing to go. But again, this and a lot of grassroots organizing on the street as we speak. So this is not all, again, just people who are doing this in a moment of either retaliation or anger. Some of that is true, but there are also organizations, autonomous zones that are being created. There's a lot of different organizer and activist types who have gone and are already headed down to Minneapolis to try to help extend this now current fight against ICE. This is one of these moments where this is now the central place of a sort of a battle, a pitched battle between the authorities and the people. So there's a lot that's going on for people to ponder, get involved in, and figure out. But one of the things, again, that's happening, which we have not seen in this country, we've seen this in France, we've seen this in places in South America and Africa. We've not seen this at this proportion, right? It's not a national, but the fact that in a relatively short period of time after the second murder, people have been able to pull off a widespread general strike could portend to some future action.
In a nominal show of support, and maybe you guys know, I just found this interesting. Friday night's game this past Friday at the Target Center in Minneapolis was canceled. Now, I'm not certain if it was canceled because of, inaccessibility to the arena, or whether or not the ball players themselves decided to participate in the general strike. I just wanted to throw that out there because I wasn't sure. I'm like, did the NBA players decide to show some solidarity here, or people couldn't get to the arena? But anyway.
Yeah. Let me highlight this bulletin real quick, the most recent BAT bulletin. I put in the I
can bring it up for you.
Chat.
You
go ahead, come on. So, this is the most recent BAT bulletin on domestic militarism and repression, volume 1, issue 3, coming out January 20th. I just want to read a little bit of this because it does directly relate to the way in which these forces are being conflated, or rather trying to be separated in the conflation of those forces, right? So fragmentation, force, and fascism, the architecture of the repressive national security state. Introduction, just read a couple of pieces here. What we are witnessing in the United States today is not a series of isolated policy excesses or unfortunate, quote, overreaches, but the maturation of a coherent architecture of repression, a national security state that fuses intelligence, policing, militarization, and ideological discipline into a single system of control. This system is not reactive, it is proactive. It is not defensive, it is anticipatory. It is not primarily about safety. It is about managing populations, suppressing dissent, and maintaining imperial order in a moment of systemic crisis, fueling the consolidation of fascism. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4 more paragraphs down, these mechanisms do not operate independently. Militarized police force intelligence through overwhelming force. ICE operationalizes it through raids and profit-based detentions, and all of it is ideologically legitimated through a permanent discourse of threat from the racialized, quote, other, terrorism, gangs, extremism, disorder, invasion, that recodes political opposition and social crisis as internal security problems, right? So this is exactly what we've seen happening with all of these murders, right? Never mind Alex Peretti's background, right? As a vet, as a nurse working at the VA, right? Instantly, as soon as he steps out of line as far as the state is concerned, right? He's a terrorist, right? He was there to massacre a bunch of ICE agents or police or whatever they call it, right? Renee Good, right, was threatening police officers with her car. She was trying to get away from them, right? So when these, the propaganda on the television, right, they are literally using these terms, and what should make it very clear to us is that this is logic. These are terms that have always been used for racialized and colonized populations, right? Black people here, indigenous people here, Muslim populations here, right? It goes on and on and on, right? So this is just a reframing, right, and retargeting of that to formerly populations that were not targeted in the same way. And now, right, Democrats and liberals, broadly speaking, feel like they have to address it, but the only way that they're able to address it, because of their own ideological contradictions, is by saying they need more training, right? Or they're not being, really the issue is that you've hired a bunch of untrained, people. Never mind they were in the military. Never mind that some of these people are ex-cops, right? Never mind that these people have been trained by the same security state, right? Now all of a sudden, now that they're here and doing this, they're suddenly untrained and need body cameras and stuff like that, right? Never mind everything we know about body cameras. Shout out to Alex Kirikasanis. So yeah, just please read this. I believe Comrade Manny put it in the chat. But yeah, as always, right, BAP is trying to kind of clarify what's going on.
So gang, I have a thought here, and I'm not saying this to be funny. It may sound funny though. In terms of strategy, and I'm putting it out here on this platform because I'm hoping more people will hear it. I mean, I had the idea of like reverse COINTELPRO. We need some folks on the inside. All right. I think we need some of our folks. And I'm talking about you cisgender white men that like us, you got the perfect disguise. Join ICE, and intercept all their communications, disseminate to organizations, where these ICE raids are going to be. Everybody is asleep at the wheel right now, gang. They're not really examining background checks. They don't give a fuck about drug tests. Okay. Like, go join ICE and report back and be a bad ICE agent, no less, right? Go in there and disrupt with your incompetence. Okay. Like, fuck up, gum up the system. Perfect opportunity right now. We should have like 20 youngins trying to join an ICE right now. No bullshit. Because if they have used as a consistent tactic over generations to infiltrate our groups, our movements, our organizations, the door is wide open right now for us to sort of return the favor. Just a thought.
No, I'm not mad at this. Somebody just put it in the chat too. I was going to say the spook that sat by the door idea of at least of gaining, and people have done that. I know people have joined. They've taken jobs as prison guards to expose, right? And this would be in real time. Like, obviously, I'm not suggesting in mass people do it. But I don't think it's a bad idea. And I think there will be whistleblowers. I think this is a time where there will be a few, right? It's not like you're going to take over the agency or stop it from being what it is. But this is a time where they're like, the exposure or exposing information can have real consequences for alerting the larger general public, right? And so again, I think there's a lot of things that are happening right now in real time, which deserve proper analysis. And one of those things is that whatever we call it, a one-day action, a general strike. It's just something that we haven't seen of this particular nature in a large period of time. And so I think there are ways, again, for organizations that have particular politics to try to take advantage of this, as in propagandizing the larger community, that this has to continue and not just be about pushing ICE out. But are there also larger concerns? But again, 2 people murdered, the idea or taking away the shield that somehow that if this happened in some other country, the United States might be calling for an overthrow of the regime, right? The United States might be trying to invade. And at the same time, as this is happening, remember, the United States has started to bomb again people in boats off the coast of Venezuela, right? Not getting the press attention because this is getting a certain amount of press attention. But the way in which mainstream press is even talking about this, isolated incidents, examining the videotape to no end, no mass condemnation of what's taking place in Minneapolis, both sizing it, saying both ICE and the people have to be calm or patient kind of thing. So we know that they're not going to give the proper analysis to it. We have to give the proper analysis and have people out in the street pushing the propaganda, pushing what this should be about and what this should be for, that this should go past the idea of just pushing ICE out. But again, we're in this moment of politicizing people, and that's going to take a lot of work to do. But it's something that I think people should, recognize in real time, that this is another moment that's happening that, again, has involved masses of people. This is not a small activist-driven thing. There are literally tens of thousands of people who've been out in the street. There are people who are doing rapid response networks that have been created to, as soon as ICE shows up, the people who have apps that they're creating that as soon as ICE shows up. So this is a moment of organizing people in various ways to get them to counter ICE, but again, to also counter the establishment way in which this is being portrayed, and the establishment Democrats who, again, just want calm. They just want calm and civility. They don't want change.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good time to point out that they're literally talking about bombing Iran because of the way they treat protesters. So just a side note.
Yeah. Shout out to the conversation that happened, was it last Wednesday? Jackie and Erica interviewed this academic from Imperialist Scholars Collective, I'm pretty sure, right? But that was a really great interview. I reposted and got a bunch of reactionaries in my chat, so it was good. That's how you know. Definitely want to also talk about, since we're on this subject, right? But the top Border Patrol officer that's leaving Minneapolis and they're switching with Holman. Farnia, sorry. What's her name?
Hmm?
Right. So here, I think there's something also interesting happening here, right? Because post the crackdowns that have been happening right now, this top Border Patrol pig, Gregory Bovino, right? This is the same one that was had that photo op in the Nazi-inspired overcoat. Apparently he's leaving, Minneapolis now, right? And he's being called back, and he's being replaced by he's leaving Minneapolis to go be other places around the country, right? So he's not just going to go relocate, right, his operations.
Mm-hmm.
But he's being replaced by Border Czar Tom Homan, right? Same Tom Homan who was given an award, I believe, by Obama, commended by Obama, right? And Homan has already apparently spoke to Governor Tim Walz and said they seem to be on a similar wavelength, quote unquote. Especially, and with the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, also spoke to the president, who agreed that, quote, the present situation cannot continue, right? And I think all of this highlights the way in which Democrats and Republicans are fundamentally on the same page about ICE and law enforcement, quote unquote, law enforcement. Right. But it's just the change. It's just the optics. The optics are a problem, right? So get rid of this guy who's doing a little bit too much, bring in his superior, right? Let's calm everything down. Let's make sure ICE and law enforcement are working together, right? And then, we're not going to have any more issues, right? But But the way this reads, right, from CNN, imperialist, mainstream news, right, is that there's like been some kind of sea change, right, or concession, right, by the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's
he's just going to go to Charlotte. Isn't he going to Maine? Like what? Okay, he's he's just getting reassigned to a different place to terrorize other folks in a different region of the country. How is this a change or a departure in policy or even a departure in leadership? It's not. I hate these mainstream legacy outlets. They want to conflate some sort of internal personality drama amongst the Trump White House. Who gives a fuck? They don't deviate from the script. I don't care if they arguing in the background. They are united in what they are delivering.
It reminds me back in the day when because I don't think this happens as much anymore, but when there would be a police slaying of somebody in a community, and the biggest outcome would be if the police chief was changed. That somehow was supposed to be this remarkable sea change in how policing was going to be done, because the top person had to step down only to be replaced by their lieutenant or some other vetted police chief who's done the same tactics and strategies over the years, but maybe has a softer voice. Or maybe now looks like the people who was killed, right? Mm-hmm. So, hey, let's get a black guy in there. Let's get a black woman in there. Let's get a queer person in there. Let's get a woman in there. Let's get somebody who can sort of relate to the people who are a little upset about the fact that their folks were just murdered or being over arrested, or the officers are involved in rape allegations, anything to quell. You know what I mean? I think this guy has become, he likes the camera. He likes to take pictures. He likes to show himself. I think, again, throwing, I've seen him like throw tear gas or something in the crowd when it gets filmed. So he likes this stuff. And I think in general, like you said, Trump likes him. He's not being replaced. He's just basically moving to a new theater where his presence won't become an obstacle to them doing what they want to do. And again, the compromise position on this stuff usually is, if you just did it in a quieter way, if you just staked out some gas stations or just the Home Depots, if you did it in a way that didn't bring this much attention to the issue, then the Democratic mayor and governor would be satisfied. Whether they overtly said that ICE agents would work with or work with them or not, they would be okay if you did it in a certain way. And let's face it, like when we get around to these next presidential elections, you're going to hear people like Newsom and others, Democrats, not complaining about innately the agency of ICE, but only around its deployment. They're not necessarily going to say, they're definitely not going to stand on the position of we're about to abolish ICE. They're just going to do it in a way that they feel is quieter and more acceptable, and again allows folks to go to brunch. We have this Republican institution or this Republican administration right now, which feels like the in-your-face tactics, and they might draw some of this back now since they've seen some of the backlash. But this in-your-face tactic, which is this battle between Trump and what he considers his Democratic foils, may push the public against him even more than what it is through polling that you can see.
Do you think that congressional Democrats are willing to shut down the government? I think it's this Friday, behind Homeland Security funding.
No.
I love everyone's Snickers. I love the Snickers. They're threatening to, though, Kamal. They threatened, if y'all don't blah, 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 we're not going to approve your funding. And then the government shut down, and the Democrats have shut it down based off principle.
Wasn't like 75 Democrats that like expressed appreciation for ICE? Wasn't like 75 of them that did that? Am I getting that number wrong?
I mean, they voted to support Charlie Kirk memorial, whatever I mean,
there you go. There you go.
I have little to no expectations of these folks, but it's like every time they talk a little something, all the liberal Democrats get excited, like, oh, see, they're talking about doing something. All right.
What did Cory Booker say? It was like, I don't want to ever hear anybody ever say the Democrats are not supportive of police ever again. Something like that.
Wow.
Like,
sir, we know.
People are not coming to help us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not. We need to be organized outside of the duopoly.
But you know who is coming to help us?
Who?
You know it. What's good, everybody? Great stories. Ice is out here. Melt them up if you can. Hey, yeah. So make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. We will be, back here tomorrow. This guy could walk it out to another city. Also Thursday, we'll be sorry, not sorry, Mr. Apologetic over here trying to get some more money, I guess. And Friday, haven't come up with that thumbnail yet, but soon come. I don't know. Classical breakdown cam this week.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We're gonna do our Jimmy Jam Terry Lewis joint. So make sure y'all tune in for that. I'll remake a thumbnail.
Spectacular.
It shall be spectacular. You're sure right.
And you haven't seen Ice in Atlanta. I've seen videos of Ice all in through Atlanta, Metro Atlanta.
Some is Stone Mountain. I would say a couple of Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain has a lot of Caribbeans out
Norcross. I've seen Norcross on the list. I've seen a lot of places in Metro Atlanta where Ice has begun to stage.
There hasn't been though a great the type of showy things that they've been doing so far. It's not happened to the degree in Atlanta. Although I will say two quick things. One is that student walkouts in Atlanta over the day of the strike were huge. High schools, at least 10 or 15 high schools reported walkouts by students last week. And again, this Friday, another mass mobilization is being planned, which includes most likely student walkouts all across the country. So that's been one thing. And two, again, I think one reason why the presence hasn't been, so I was a little surprised about maybe how much they may be involved in Memphis, not because it's a Democratic city, but because it's a Republican controlled state. So for the most part, it felt like the Trump administration has been going after Democrat controlled states, again, in order to further his sort of pitched battle against both the city liberal so-called city regimes in terms of Democratic control, but also governors. And so that seemed to be his biggest push. So we'll see.
We shall see. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and give y'all some more right here on No Other Than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Feel like this.
Say if you and your wife, Madeline, were treated just like mine, all the anchors on ABC Nightline would speak about white crime. We'd see videos every night of handcuffed white boys in the nighttime. Hope you know how to fight crime. 911's no longer your lifeline. That's a ticket to a cell. White guy, I wish you well. Remember, never kiss and tell, or take a sip from the snitching well. And you were Mr. Zinfandel. The lawns and picket fences, soccer moms and Christmas presents. Goodbye to Martha's Vineyard. You in the vineyard. You in the vineyard.
All right, let's get to it. What we talking about today? Let's talk about Jadena Mobilsit. That's right. Coming straight out of Wisconsin. Did you even know? Yeah. Father from Nigeria. But yeah, he wound up being in Wisconsin and wound up moving to Boston? Yeah. But he signed to Janelle Monáe's record label, came out with the song Classic Man, and then Yoga after that, and then dropped 2 more albums. After that, came up with the big song The Chief and some other ones. He did a little acting also when we talk about on Insecure. And yeah, he started off with his rap group Black Spades. They did their thing back in the day before he really got signed. He was going around teaching and then hooked up with Janelle Monáe in Atlanta and then started making that history. He's a writer, producer, and performer. He's also did a song for Doja Cat called Woman, one of his dope songs, Sufi Woman. He's also a promoter of polygamy. And yeah, go check him out. He got 3 albums, The Chief, 85, 2, Africa, and Me, You, and God. And check out that 85 to Africa cover. My homeboy Fahamu Pico did it. So big up to him and big up to Dinner. Let's get it.
They are white women, middle age, middle class, as you know. Twas no.
Oh yeah, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. I forgot. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Who
it.
is that?
Jadena. I said his name wrong.
Oh, I just don't know
I
who
don't
it
think
is.
Oh, okay. I'll be sneaking.
would
I like
Kamau
that.
and I know the difference if you had. No.
Oh, okay.
I need a tat like that though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I need that.
But yeah, you make some good music. Good music. I must say. That's it. I have nothing more. I just picked some random ass.
That's it. We got nothing.
I got nothing.
We got nothing. You got nothing to stir the pot.
Where'd you say the man was from?
Wisconsin.
He's from Wisconsin. Okay. Why did I think he was a continental brother?
Well, his dad's from Nigeria.
Oh, so he is a continental brother. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why he practices polygamy and stuff like that.
That's why, huh?
Well, it's culture. It's culture. Nigerians
He
get
could have
down
been
like
from
that.
Utah and practiced polygamy. That would have been his culture too, right?
That's true, but you more think of polygamy with African culture.
Do you practice polygamy?
I thought about it, but then I was just like, that's a lot of money.
A lot of work. Yeah, I feel like it's too much work.
If I had more money, I'll think about it because there's a lot of sisters out here that need saving. Especially in Atlanta.
That's what I needed.
Especially in Atlanta. It's like 10 women to one guy. Stop playing.
And then it's your job to,
Your job.
Yeah. I mean,
don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
Hey, come out. They always want protection and security, right?
You know what I'm saying? It's just too much work.
That's what they always say. I need be protected and secured.
Stop.
It's a lot of work, though.
No,
that's a lot. I don't see how the Mormons do it. That's like 3 or 4 households. Like, whoa, how do you do that?
Bro.
I just mean like intellectually. Like, I can't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Evan, you're polygamous?
I'm just waiting for us to get back to the run sheet. You know what I'm saying? I just don't.
Oh man, come on, man.
Can I get us back to the run sheet?
That's your preferred?
Somebody's in the other room. He can't talk about it.
Evan told me that's his preferred lifestyle choice.
Tim
is definitely a polygamist.
If I could have, like, I've said this before on another timeline, all the many concurrent timelines running at the same time. Me and another timeline, I have at least 5 kids by 6 guys, at least. You know what I'm saying? But in this timeline, I'm child free.
Yeah. Would you house them up? Do you like keep them close by, like the dudes, like one?
Somebody got to take care of these kids, man.
I mean, polygamy's purpose when it comes to nation building is it makes sense, the mathematics of it all. More women, more kids. You can't have a bunch of guys with one woman and have multiple kids in 9 months. So if you got, you know what I'm saying? In mathematics, if you're nation building and you want to have a big family, it makes sense to have more women so you can have more kids in 9 months. So you have 5 women. You're going to have 5 kids in the 9 months or even twins. But if you got 1 woman and 5 dudes, you can still only have 1 kid. So nation building, it makes sense. We need to get off of that and get on some nation building for real. All right. Peace out.
I don't think our people suffer from a lack of children, right? When they look at the birth rates, it's the whites that are dropping the ball on reproduction. Black and brown people is straight out here in terms. We replacing ourselves and then some per birth rate.
I don't even know 45 minutes enough to like get us back on track. You know
what I'm saying? Like, you got a story you want to bring up, Evan? I'm sorry. You don't want to talk a little sidetrack, I just thought it was your preferred lifestyle. That's all. I could have sworn you told me that. No, you didn't say no birds.
I'm a happy one woman man. What is it? Kept Man's Club? Whatever. Jared. That's the club I'm a part of. Very happily. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Kamau was in the Kept Man's Club for a long time. He was Kept Man. Who else? We love a kept man because y'all know y'all place, which is wonderful. I love to see it. And the kept men usually don't embarrass their women publicly. So that's great.
Doing my best every day, Kim.
On behalf of all women, we appreciate that, Evan. We love that for your partner. Like, look at your man not embarrassing up here. That's fantastic. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of men embarrassing their partners out here. You hate to see it.
So on that note, we're all going to go back to, Kim brought this up at the end of the last segment when we talked about in the wake of Alex Peretti's death, Congress appears on track for a partial shutdown. So we can see what this is about or what Congress supposedly is saying. It says the second deadly shooting of a U.S. citizen by federal immigration officers in Minneapolis is raising the prospect of a partial government shutdown at the end of the week. Senate Democrats say they will not vote to fund the Department of Homeland Security without new guardrails for immigration enforcement, but that opposition may also torpedo the larger $1.3 billion spending package needed to keep large swaths of the federal government operational past Friday night. Says the appalling murders of Renee Good and Alex Perete on the streets of Minneapolis must lead Republicans to join Democrats in overhauling ICE and CBP to protect the public. Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wrote on Sunday, people should be safe from abuse by their own government. Democrats were already raising the alarms about the conduct of immigration officers before the latest killing. Says last week, all but 7 House Democrats voted against the funding bill covering Homeland Security, which included money for immigration and customs enforcement. At the same time, a few Senate Democrats also pledged to vote against the funding when it reached them this week, though the response across the Capitol was far from near unified opposition in the House. That is because the House sent the DHS funding over to the Senate, tied together with billions in spending for defense, health, transportation, and other federal agencies as part to expedite the process as Congress races to meet a Friday deadline. Says the hard truth is that Democrats must win political power to enact the kind of accountability we need, said Patty Murray from Washington, the Democrat.
Yawn.
The top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Committee wrote in a statement at the Perete shooting on Saturday by Border Patrol agent Murray said that she would join her Democratic colleagues in opposing the funding. It says the timeline was already tight once a winter storm delayed the first Senate meetings this week. Schumer wants to cleave the DHS measure from everything else. The other remaining spending measures have overwhelming bipartisan support. Democrats want to continue negotiating the DHS funding bill without shutting down large parts of the government. Says the funding measure needs to reach a 60-vote threshold to pass, meaning some Democratic support is needed for it to clear the Senate, but disentangling different parts of legislation requires buy-in from Republicans, and so far, GOP leadership has not indicated that they are willing to separate the funding bill. So lastly, it says before the weekend, few lawmakers expressed appetite for another shutdown after a record 43-day one this fall. For weeks, Democrats withheld their votes from a short-term funding measure to reopen the government without a deal to extend expiring health insurance subsidies. So there you are. The claim is that the Democrats are thinking about, attempting to think about, wanting to think about cleaving something away and having a partial shutdown. We shall see if that is actually the case. Comments?
So I heard guardrails. What was it? What is it? Guardrails for immigration enforcement or law enforcement, something like that. So policies, procedures, right? More things that they will not follow or they will abuse, right, in real time in front of us on camera. And I think what's interesting is that I'm pretty sure Schumer said citizens, right? Like he made a distinction around citizens shouldn't be treated this way by their government. So like anyone else, right? I mean, again, like the issue right now is that U.S. citizens are the ones getting abused, murdered, right, victimized, right? When they were doing this to everyone else, including racialized populations here, right, who don't really have citizenship, not really, like it was not an issue, right? And even still, right, the only issue is that you're doing this to people who you're not supposed to be doing it to. You're doing it in a way that makes it a little uncomfortable for us. Like that is the issue, right? And I mean, of course, they're not going to provide any real kind of resistance to this. Yeah, like it'll be another game of chicken that they lose, that they force and then lose. Yeah.
I mean, aren't they? I mean, I don't believe the Democrats at all. I mean, congressional Democrats have always supported and voted in favor of refunding and expanding funding for the Department of Defense, which I think is part of this, you know, this budget that could shut the government down. But is this is the $1 trillion budget for DOD that they're seeking to get approved, or that
1.3 trillion? 1.3 trillion. So
I'm
much money.
sorry. When have these Democrats indicated to us that this is something that they were not in support of, right? And to your point, Evan, like people who are here undocumented still have constitutional rights. Like people's rights are being violated every single day, regardless of their citizenship status, regardless of their documented status. Like folks have rights here that are continuously being violated, which I guess the Democrats don't have a problem with. They just have a problem with white folks now getting shot in broad daylight. So that's their issue. But when we talk about guardrails, what are you even saying? These agents are not required to identify themselves. They are masked. They are doing things like traffic enforcement, of which they have no authority to do. They're ordering people out of their like they have overstepped all of their so-called bounds. And all Chuck Schumer can say is we need to implement some more guardrails. And then what? I mean, there have been a number of federal judges that have ruled that ICE's conduct is illegal in a bunch of different ways. I think there was a judge in Minnesota who said that they could not use munitions and tear gas and all of that on protesters and journalists. I was watching Ben Dixon's show yesterday with Georgia Ford, and she said, isn't that already a fucking law? Like, why do you need a judge to come in and reassert to allegedly law enforcement officers what the law is and that they are also bound to abide? So these Democratic senators are just proving to us that they have no power. Like the legislative arm of our federal government has been rendered ineffective and useless, and sort of like just an authority that the executive can overshoot and bypass at their will. So I'm not convinced of anything here. The Homeland Security is going to continue as they have, unabated, with what will eventually be Democratic support. And look at, for example, here in the state of Maryland, Governor Wes Moore praises. He always thumps his chest talking about how he has funded police when police were never defunded. Yeah, we've made sure we've given way more money to the police. We have invested in predictive policing. What is that, Wes Moore? What is predictive policing? Why is the state of Maryland investing in that a good thing that you're trying to sell to us? Y'all, no.
I was going to say quickly that I mean, again, these are the same Democrats that, when push came to shove on healthcare,
right,
caved. Right, that they had the shutdown, but eventually they caved. And what's happening now is that people in the thousands, soon to be hundreds of thousands, are stuck with premiums that they can't pay and are losing their healthcare. Right, and the Democrats did nothing. The Republicans are shrugging their shoulders at it. So what makes us think that 2 killings is going to be enough for the Democrats to do any more than say it's complicated, or we're looking at these procedural issues to stop it? But in the end of the day, there's going to be enough Democrats, I believe, that are going to push this budget through. They're going to fully fund Homeland Security, fully fund the military with the increase that Trump has now started to demand. And so this stuff seems like it's again, it's the show for us, but the actual job will be to keep the government running and to continue to let this play out.
And I think it's probably important for people to consider some of these. It's very frustrating because this is why we have to bring back the Democrats. Democrats have to be back in power.
If only you voted for Kamala.
Right. So this is the path, of course, that all of this is leading towards. So there is actually a chance that they might do something, if only to try and support this notion that they are the ones who should be in charge. So there's a small chance that, they will use the opportunity to do the thing that they always do, which is serve as little purpose as possible in order to convince people that the crumb that they left behind is enough to continue to support their nonsensical decisions. That said, I do also want to say, because someone's saying it in the chat, like this idea that now all of the sudden, because 2 Caucasian US citizens were killed in Minnesota, now we have to do something, right? Now something has to be done. Now it has to be looked at. Meanwhile,
They don't even know how many people have died in ICE custody. They don't know how many people have died in like they have no knowledge of it. And one of the things that I find, really discomforting is like, there was a whole thing on Martin Luther King Day, and there was a lot of focus on Renee Good. And not that you dismiss Renee Good, but literally someone died in Delaney Hall like 3 weeks ago. And that person, and forgive me, y'all, I don't want to say the name wrong. So I don't want to misspeak the name, but it was a Haitian immigrant who was in custody at Delaney Hall and was killed. Not, it was found that he was killed in Delaney Hall. And so this whole notion of whose life matters, right? So it's even like it dates back to all of the things that we continue to talk about on a regular basis with regard to what is happening in Haiti, what is happening in Palestine, what is happening in Sudan. Like, why is it now all of a sudden we're going to start talking about, oh, well, now we have to do something. And somebody said Keith Porter's name in the chat. Absolutely. Keith Porter was also killed by these federal agents. So like why now all of a sudden the Democrats are going to step up and do something, and instead of people questioning like what's taking y'all so long? And this is part of the problem. You're so busy working in collusion with the people that are supposedly on the other side of the aisle that now it's acceptable all of a sudden to do something about what's happening. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And you bring up excellent points, Renee, because like this is the violence. This is the routine violence that the empire enacts all the time, and the Democrats and Republicans justify, right? Like it is only a problem when the violence spills out to unexpected communities, just like it does with cops, right? Think about, we don't know all the people that are murdered behind the walls in prisons, that are tortured behind the walls in these prisons and jails, right, throughout the country, not just private ones, but also federal and local ones. We have no idea, right? But the moment like a pig kills somebody in the free world, right, that they're not supposed to, not a black and brown person, right? When they kill somebody that they're not supposed to, then it becomes an issue, right? It's the violence spilling out onto a population that it's not intended for, right? This is like, again, if you need another, comparison, right, to regular police, right? ICE operate the exact same way. This is just the violence spilling. We have no idea the amount of people that are tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered in ICE custody, in Border Patrol custody, right? All the time, right? I just saw a report about like heinous sexual assault, right, that was happening, right? And I think that pig got 15 months or something like that. The people that were guarding him, that were clearing the way, making sure nobody came as he was assaulting this woman, no charges, right? This act that they're doing right now, as if they care, right? We need to constantly call out, right, that this is ridiculous, and that these are just the kind of splashes that get, that make the headlines, right? But this is indicative of an entire apparatus of violence and torture that exists unabated, right, and supported by Democrats and Republicans. And again, to go back, right, to that bulletin, the task before us is not to reform within that architecture, but confrontation with it. Not technocratic fixes, but political resistance. Not procedural objections, but principled opposition. Because once repression becomes normalized, legality becomes irrelevant, and freedom becomes a memory rather than a practice, right? Democrats are going to tell you that the problem is they have masks on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? Like that's what they're going to focus on. Meanwhile, we need to clarify, right, that this violence is one of the same. The violence that we're experiencing here inside, quote unquote, inside the borders of the country is the same violence that's happening in these detention centers, on the peripheries, or in these cities. Is the same violence that the U.S. has been supporting in Palestine and Sudan and Iran and Venezuela, right? This is all part of the same apparatus, and we need to be clear about that, and not let the wool be covered. Not let Democrats, tell us that cops are going to be our saviors in this moment, or the National Guard.
They just need better training, Evan. I mean, that's why we need more cop cities so they can have more training. Duh. And the thing about the training, when I see Democrats in particular trot that line out, we have these untrained officers. Now, Cunty Gnome might actually be telling a lie, which, yeah, of course, this administration lies all the time. But this officer who murdered Alex Peretti, they claim that he is an 8-year veteran of Homeland Security or Border Patrol or whatever. And I'm thinking, number one, well, him shooting this person multiple times probably is the training. And also, if he's been at the border for 8 years, how many people coming across the border has he also shot in the head, shot in the face? And we never knew their names. We never knew what happened to them. We never knew any of it, right? So the fact that they're willing to do this in broad daylight versus a white U.S. citizen, God knows what they have been doing down at the border all this time.
And so I brought up this article from Al Jazeera, which speaks to everyone's point. Like, so before the murder of Alex Peretti and Nicole Good, at least 9 deaths related to immigration law enforcement in the U.S. And most of those deaths were, if not all of them, people of color. And so, again, no huge uproar. Keith Porter, who was murdered New Year's Eve in Los Angeles. We have here the percentage of people who have died in ICE detention last year alone, 32, and already an additional 9 or 10. I'm sorry, 6 so far this year. And so here they list some of the names: Geraldo Campos, who was murdered by ICE, a Cuban immigrant. And so this list continues. Victor Manuel Diaz, who was killed, a Cambodian immigrant who was murdered. Again, another person from South America who was murdered. So these names are not the names of white folks, which, again, you want everybody's murder, killing to matter. And, as we often say, that the protest in the streets should have started then, when the first person was killed. Again, no one is saying to stop protests, and we shouldn't recognize the lives of people who have put their lives on the line, quite frankly, to stop ICE agents. But it should also include those who were picked up who didn't have so-called, some of them who did not have so-called citizenship, who were not U.S. citizens, who did not have the proper paperwork. Those people should not also be murdered by ICE, right? They should not be killed by ICE. And sort of our humanity needs to extend to the point where we are out in the streets and outraged because of those murders. And again, I think obviously it's some of these murders and the ways in which people are being stopped, which led people to the streets in the first place. And then these additional deaths have risen the stakes because they have been white people, to be honest. But we have to recognize that the amount of people that's being murdered, as we've talked about before, by police, by federal agents, by local cops, those things go underreported at this particular stage. And they're trying to clamp down through exactly what Kim mentioned, the idea of these cop cities and the training. Atlanta police are the most trained police in Georgia. In terms of cops who receive training, hours of training, intensity of training, varieties of training, but yet it's touted as somehow going to make a difference once it's built. So-called crime has now gone back down to record lows prior to the opening of the Cop City institution. But yet they're going to say that because they built Cop City is why so-called crime went down. So it doesn't need to, the facts don't need to add up. The stats don't need to add up. For them, it's just a matter of control and being able to, again, disappear people, kill people, arrest people, harass people at a moment's notice and not to be held accountable for it.
Does anybody know the status of the witnesses of Alex Peretti's murder? From what I heard, that witnesses were immediately disappeared off the scene. Can anybody else confirm whether or not they saw / heard that? I'm not certain what the status of these people are. I know that at least 2 folks who were present at the scene went down to the court, on which court I'm not sure, but went down to the court and filed affidavits, like giving their witness statements about what they saw, because obviously the investigation has now been turned over to, you know, the Gestapo, and I'm sure they do a fantastic investigation. But did anybody else hear that witnesses, people who were in the immediate vicinity, were taken from the scene to an undisclosed place, and I'm not certain if they've been released or if even that story was true?
Individually, I've not heard the extent of that. I do know, I've heard that the police came in right away and cleared the area when protesters began to gather to preserve evidence of the scene, and did exactly what you talked about earlier in terms of muddying up the evidence, attempting to take cameras. I've heard stories like that. The tear gassing of people who were close by, or again, the sprays that they've been using as people were taking videotapes. So it's, again, we're just lucky that people were able to get some of this information out early, because right away, the talking points from the Republican administration was that he was attempting to murder ICE agents, or that he was attempting, and Good was attempting to run her car at ICE agents, or he was a domestic terrorist, and he came there to kill ICE agents. And so that propaganda immediately got pushed away, because people, again, in a sense of bravery, I don't want to even diminish that. Like, I know people say we have to do more than just film, and I think that's true, but there's a sense of bravery when someone's getting shot and people are actually willing to stand there and continue to try to film or document it in some way, because they don't have the weapons to do anything different. It's only because we've seen that evidence in the first place that folks have been able to counter the narrative and use their social media outlets to counter the narrative. And so I think the film of what actually took place has now reached millions and millions of people that ordinarily people would not have been able to see if these folks did not immediately get that stuff up, and we weren't just given the government's version of events, which, again, the liberal media is giving you the both sides story, or we're invested. They're looking. It's almost like this, the Zuckerberg film or whatever. I forgot that was Zapruder film. Thank you. That everybody, they're like looking at every millimeter aspect. Again, if a protester is killed in Iran, it's called state violence and repression off the bat. They don't care about the videotape shows. They don't care what the people in the crowd were doing. Doesn't matter. Immediately here, though, it's the opposite. We must take special pains to make sure we understand everything that happened in every millisecond. And then it's only more training, and it's one officer may have to suffer some consequence later on, but it's no abolishment or changing of how policing is done.
Yeah, I mean, and the administration has been even more upfront about that than typical, right? And saying that, like, no, we're not gonna prosecute anybody. They have complete immunity. So,
yeah. And speaking of propaganda,
that's the response.
Yeah. Hey, don't you fret. Keith Ellison's going to file another lawsuit. Okay, Evan, he's going to get down to the bottom of this. He doesn't care how many more people get shot and killed. He's going to file lawsuits, and it's going to go through the courts. And he's going to do it the right way, Evan. Don't worry. It's going to
only if he doesn't in a diaper like Cory Booker. Allegedly.
He wears a diaper? Why does Cory Booker wear a diaper? You get pegged? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say that.
So, speaking about how propaganda works, right, and the limits of these tools of social media, one of the things that, of course, has been a huge story for over a year or so is Trump's attempt and Biden's attempt to force the TikTok to be sold. Ostensibly, the claim is that so our data wouldn't be controlled by the Chinese. It's okay if our data are controlled by the capitalists, whom that's different. And so the forced sale of the U.S. version of TikTok has gone through. And here it says the TikTok's new CEO, Adam Presser, says users can say that they are proud Zionists, but using the term Zionist in a negative sense is hate speech, and accounts are being banned for it. So I want to play this really quick.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game. We made a change.
But China doesn't want you to have free speech. You know you can't go to China and say certain things. Hey, try to beat that LGBTQ shit over in Gaza. Why see what happens?
That's why I deleted it. It's already gone. I'm
downloading all my bookmarks right now, Renee. Like I'm downloading all my recipes, all the hoodoo girlies, all the gardening tips. All of the crazy police brutality. I'm downloading all the shit so I can delete this bitch. That's a wrap. Pour out a little liquor for TikTok, everybody. It's gone.
I think the brain worms on display are quite interesting, right? Like, I mean, this is like the inherent nonsense of idealism, right? Like that Zionism is all about using it good or using it bad, right? Being a good Zionist or like like not about what does Zionism mean? What is Zionism? What is the political ideology? Like, can we describe? Nothing about that. It's just like, is it good vibes or bad vibes?
And people in the chat is saying it. Sorry, Kamal, but real quick. And we're fully aware that this is happening in multiple places. I think for me, it's this like outrageous. We're going to sell this particular app because we are afraid of what is going to happen for people in China and then you sell it to somebody who's now doing these types of interviews. I actually was not really on the app, so me saying I'm deleting it is really not that much work. I wasn't doing anything on there anyway, but yes, they're all doing it, but I'm also currently working to get myself off of Google. And so this is not we recognize it. I just feel like the very in your face nonsense that's happening right now for TikTok, being that it's especially something that I don't actually use, it was a no-brainer for me to just delete it and be done with it.
How many US users did it have? 170 million? More people have TikTok probably than Instagram. You know what I mean? I think it was the most popular social media app in not only just in the world, but right here stateside. So what they are promising, I believe, is that a US only version of this app will now be available. So I'm having trouble already that they whatever they did to the algorithm, they did it on night one, right? Stuff started, glitching and acting silly, and accounts from overseas, I noticed that their content was particularly glitchy. Some stuff I couldn't download at all. And a person that I do follow on there made an interesting point. It's not just so that Americans don't know what's going on in the world. It's also so the rest of the world doesn't know what is about to be done to Americans, right? We are being walled off here, in part because they don't want the world to see what they are about to do to us.
And I think it's a great study in pure propaganda, right? So going back to the idea that this platform, again, with all the inconsistencies of it, was one of the ways in which you were directly able to counter the narrative of the repressive state of Israel, the repressive state of the United States, on what was going on in Gaza. People filmed it and showed it on multiple apps. But because of the wide usage of TikTok, people got to see in real time that they were telling lies over and over and over again. And the establishment, which knows no boundaries, again, just think of it. They forced China to sell this app. And again, China could have let it been banned. That's I think they should have let it get banned. So they didn't have to sell it. I just want to be clear about that too, in terms of letting China off the hook. But they forced the sale of this particular app to a particular ideological set of billionaires that they knew would wipe it clean of anything that critiqued or criticized Israel that brought more clarity, more honesty, more truth to the public about an ongoing genocide that the government is involved in, the U.S. government is involved in. So that's the amazing thing. And again, they're going to get away with it. Now, how many people I hope will stop using the app, will find the other apps which do very similar functions. People are creatures of habit once they've got sort of addicted to something or use something. I feel the same way about X, a platform which I use, which has a little bit more free speech policy to it. But again, it's owned by an overt white supremacist. So it's one of these things. It's like you have these apps which do serve some function of bypassing mainstream media and their views, but are also capitalist controlled and were never meant for free speech in the first place. They really were meant to get us to be better consumers, to be distracted. And the fact that people have found them and have used them in very political ways, there is now a counter, a backlash, let's say, right, or a counter revolution happening to stop that from taking place. That's
So
dead air.
We go back to flyers.
No, I think you still got to use them. You got to use them until you get banned. Don't we got to use them until we get banned? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I still think you got to use them in strategic ways, and then find the next find the next app and find the next app apparently, or develop our own app. We talked about the app that's being developed a few weeks ago, that some of which came out of Palestinian engineers. That I'll bring it up again. But the app is basically a way for people to get organized, for people to find out about demonstrations. There's cultural aspects to it. So it's the kind of app that we should be using to help us in terms of something that folks control, right? We can control that app for the most part. Its algorithms are controlled by folks who that at least are associated with organizing and activism, and so these are things that we need to figure out to do, because if we don't, then we're going to always again be at their their beckoning. And the app is called Jaywalk, by the way. Jaywalk app, again, an app that has the opportunity for folks to organize through an application that is not controlled by billionaires and so forth. It actually at this stage is controlled by two organizer activist types that we had on our show. And so these folks are really helping to push this app. And again, it is an alternative. Until we can get millions of people on this app, we should use the other apps and whatever, because sooner or later, like you said, we're all going to get banned anyway, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I have a suggestion or an idea for anybody that is like a cybersecurity, especially Negro cybersecurity folks. Can somebody volunteer to maybe take a half hour or hour to literally come on the platform and take us through what to do in your Apple iPhone or your Google phone or whatever, Android, and to deactivate some of the tracking settings, like how, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that is something very useful that everybody needs to be participating in terms of trying to mitigate the amount of data that we are providing towards the tech oligarchs. And I know it may be, infinitesimal, just toggling off some stuff, but I think it could be helpful, at least the way I see people presenting the importance of protecting your privacy and your data. Would somebody volunteer to come on and show the old folks how to do that? Please hold our hands. Please. Thank you.
Kim said, take me through there. Take me through there.
You know how to do it here, doctor. You done toggled all your shit off. Or I know you have not.
I don't. I need some. I mean, that's why I got to leave in a minute. I got to go to the bank because they got in my bank account scammers, Atlanta scammers.
You got scammed in your bank account?
Oh yeah, they got me good.
Damn,
but I get it back. Good thing it is at a bank.
Like you got $300 in your bank account?
Oh, whoa. Yeah, doctor, how'd they get you?
I think it might have been through the when you go to the gas stations and
they hit you with a scammer.
Where because I go to the hood gas station sometimes. I'm gonna stop.
What's a skimmer? No, I need to know. What does a skimmer be?
The skimmer. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Tell them.
So the skimmer is something that they place. The scammers slide. You know, when you go and you stand and you pay at the pump, they put like a little duplicate device, like
on top of it.
No, into the card slot. So when you are slinging your card, it's grabbing your card information and get that. They put them on the skimmers right there at the pay at the pump. They put them sometimes, like if you're going into 7-Eleven and pay, point of sale, they got them right there. So yeah, you got to be careful.
Damn.
You have like interface where you can like put it directly on the thing.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, so I will, when I go to the gas, I often like pull it just to make sure that I'm actually like using.
Yeah. So yeah, got to go handle that. Great, fun days. Yeah, but I'm getting the money back, so this is what
I know, but it's a hassle.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You need that $200.
You ain't lying. Speaking of, but listen, they also before I get out of here, I seen that they're doing more boycotting about ICE. Who goes to Arby's? And WhatsApp is a hell of a thing to be promoting since a lot of immigrants, quote unquote, use WhatsApp. Like that's wild to me that they support in this whole ICE thing. But
WhatsApp is supporting ICE?
Yeah.
Well, it is. WhatsApp is owned by
Facebook, Meta.
Facebook, yeah. So I just wanted to put this up there too in reference to what you're talking about. ICE out, nationwide shutdown, no work, no school, no shopping. January 30th, 2026. Sign on to join us. National shutdown. Again, various organizations have agreed to take part in this, some unions, students, and so they're not necessarily displaying at this particular point in time all the organizations that have endorsed. I will tell you that we at CNB definitely have endorsed the national shutdown. There's going to be marches and demonstrations in different parts of the country, including in Atlanta, where we're at, where some of us are at. So just everybody be on the lookout for ways in which to continue to push something that recognizes what ICE is, and to, even if we don't think that this goes far enough, this seems to be one of these things and times and moments where we should be there to push the politics, right? So let's be there to push the politics. Somebody got mad at me because at one of my little speeches, I said something about not voting, and they went to the folks who did who I guess invited me to speak. And was like, "Oh, please don't have him back. He talked about not voting or whatever." To tell me, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to talk about it again."
You said y'all gonna find out today who y'all invited.
Do all the parents pictured? Do your children have permission to walk out?
Yes. In fact, I asked my daughter. I was like, "How come you didn't walk out yet? How come you're not organizing it to junior high school?"
Yeah, but I gotta pass it over to my daughter. Make sure she follows suit. Before I get out of here, real quick. Make sure you tune in Thursday for Classical Breakdown, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. We will be doing that for real. And before I leave, a picture.
Whoa. When you say before, you trying to leave before 10?
I gotta get to the bank.
In 7 minutes? You can't stay for 7 minutes?
I guess so. But Evan got a whole lot of different things he got.
I have 3 links. It's 3.
3?
Evan's got the announcements.
Yo, I did find a picture of me dealing with polygamy over here.
Oh
yes, sir. That would be me.
Have the time.
You know, the manslaughterers these days, they call it polyamory. You know what I'm saying? As this.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
You want to pull these things up, Evan?
Please,
come out.
please.
I'm pull them up. I got. Well, which one you want to do first to get a week of action?
In order, just in order. Yeah.
Oh, look at it talk.
It's like the radical church announcements. Come through.
I know,
Evan.
right? Into the service.
If you open your, no, I'm joking. So first off, highlight that we're in the midst of a week of resistance started on January 24th, goes through this Saturday the 31st, disrupt the U.S. war machine. We're calling on everyone in your, find a local or regional mobilization and target these attention centers, target these weapons manufacturers, fossil fuel oil companies, whatever that is in your locale that you can target that. In line with this, go to the next link. BAT Mid-Atlantic is having a rally entitled Disrupt U.S. Violence from Local to Global. The flyer will be coming up in just a moment, but it's on Saturday, January 31st at 2 p.m. we will be rallying outside of St. Elizabeth's. And really the focus here, right, is to connect, as I said before, right, to connect these struggles, right, in the DMV to Venezuela, to Palestine, to Iran, right? We need to connect all of these things and, zone in on our historical tax, right, to resist these things. So that'll be beginning at 2 p.m. Outside St. Elizabeth's, right? The location is there, and we can share that link. But yeah, please take a picture of this. This is happening this Saturday. And then the last link, right? This week's Assad Shakur Study Group for Pan-African Community Action, or PACA, will be our annual session on justice for Zoe. Young man pictured here, Alonzo Smith, was actually murdered by special police in DC back in 2015. And that was the impetus. That was how PACA actually got started. Before organizers at PACA were organizing for this before they even had a name, PACA. So that session will be completely virtual due to the weather this Wednesday on the 28th at 7 p.m. Please sign up, please come out, or please log in. Those are all my announcements.
All right.
In Jesus' name.
Let the church say amen.
Organize, my brother.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What you got, Renee? What you got coming up?
So on Saturday, we are going to be joined by Lara Sheehy and Sam Youssef. We're going to be talking about Canada because we touched on that just a little bit when Sam was on the last time. And there's just so much going on in that side of the line that I think people don't fully understand how awful Canada actually is. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Kamal, if you don't mind being of assistance, I'm going to drop two things in the private chat. The first one's already there. Just give me a second on the second one. There are a couple of things happening.
Canada said we're full, No, don't come over here.
There are a couple of things happening in New Jersey this weekend, and I'm pretty excited because I convinced.
Let me just tell you I'm sorry to interrupt you, but on the first thing you dropped, apparently it's a Google Access thing, and I need access, which I just asked for. But continue.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Sorry, y'all. This is because I be talking mess about Google. That's what I get. All right, so that should go ahead and try it now. Sorry.
Yeah, got it.
So first up, we've got so Brian Quoba, who wrote the book on Hubert Harrison, is coming to New Jersey this week, and I'm very excited because I've convinced him to do all kinds of stuff while we have him in town. But he'll be doing two in-person events back to back, Thursday night and Friday night. Thursday night, we're going to be doing the work through CMB at Source of Knowledge, which is a bookstore in downtown Newark. And so I'm just very excited that he's going to be able to join us to do that. And then, sorry, I'm getting the next one. And so if you all can come out, that would be great to come out and join us. This is a free event. And again, that's going to be hosted at Source of Knowledge in downtown Newark. And then the next event is going to be the next day, and that will be in Orange, New Jersey at the Hub. That is going to be a conversation also with Brian Quoba. We're going to talk about a couple of different things. We're probably going to be more focused on some of his socialist strategies and the work that he did within the socialism movement at the time. That is going to be hosted by the Green Party New Jersey and PSL New Jersey. Both of these events are free. Both of them are in person, and both of them are in New Jersey for the Jersey residents if anybody wants to come out.
All right. As
Josh a happy says, warrior. I like that, brother.
Thank you for using the platform as intended, y'all.
Who said that?
Lorick. Oh. Yeah.
Like the twins.
Yeah, like we ain't doing what we supposed to do. But anyway, Kim Brown, what you got going down?
If you can come hang out with me tonight. I think I'm actually move my show from 7 to 8 p.m. It seems to work a little better. People show up at 8 o'clock. It's like, well, let's just start at 8. How about that? So come hang out with me tonight, 8 p.m. for Burning Down with Kim Brown, Eastern Standard Time.
All right. What about you, Kamal?
I just did. You know what I'm saying? This general strike on Friday, building towards that. Big announcements coming up hopefully later this week, if not next, on some moves by CMB. So, we keep it moving. We got folks going to Minneapolis to organize and to work with folks on the ground. So a lot of good stuff happening. Always on the move.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool. Well, that's what it is. So we'll be back tomorrow with Jackie Lukeman and one of my favorite hosts that forgets that she be on the show but be bombing me in the chat room, Ricky Ryan. All right. And we'll be back tomorrow for some more Remix Morning Show.
I think she will bomb you to your face, though. I don't think Ricky just holds it for the chat. I think Ricky
don't want this smoke.
I think Ricky's totally fine.
I think she's bigger than you.
All channels are acceptable.
She is big. She's taller than me. She got that reach.
I know, exactly. I might get
watching smoker.
You might get boxed.
I was watching UFC. I was like, damn, this nigga got some reach.
She is trained in the arts of the art of war, of Brownsville style. I wouldn't request it of Rakita. He's just
she outside of Brownsville. She a little town outside of Brownsville. Trying to rap.
Talking to you while she beat your ass. Like it'll be rough here, Doctor.
Round and pound.
Keep your hands up.
All right, I got business to do.
All right,
we out of here. Remix Morning Show. That's Kamal K. Franklin, Renee Johnston, Burn It Down, Kim Brown, Evan, and I'm the Ear Doctor.
Kamal and Renee from Brooklyn. They would assist Ricky in jumping you. I just wanted you to know
Round
that.
and pound.
Come on, man. Kamal's been removed so long from that Brooklyn lifestyle. Come on.
I was like, ew, violence. Ew.
He's in gentrified Brooklyn.
Oh,
Stop playing.
He's hot. Before I have to call 911.
We out of here. Peace out.
Peace.
Black Liberation Media is a collective of Black and African organizers, journalists, academics, and media personalities serving Black and African masses seeking to further grow in their understanding of themselves, their histories, and the African world through entertainment and news. Please continue to like, subscribe, and donate to the channel so we can further serve you and liberate our people. You can also go to blkliberationmedia.org, get some merchandise, and also become a Patreon member and a member from the YouTube. Please do what you can, share, and show your love as we will show ours for you. Black Liberation Media.